Hi, everyone. Welcome back. So last week I talked about some ways to actually recognize signs of depression in people. And if you find that you can recognize some of those signs in yourself, or that, sometimes you have depressive thoughts, then I've thought I would share with you today 3 different ways that you can fight depression, or you can help somebody to fight depression. Now, when it comes to somebody else, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. So unless somebody is willing to make a change or make a shift, no amount of pressuring, badgering, hounding, or anything is going to make anybody change. In fact, if you pressure them, push them, hound them, badger them, whatever, it's actually going to push them farther away from you and potentially push them farther into a spiral of negative thoughts. So if you find that somebody that you know, particularly somebody that you love and care about, is actually battling depression, what they need is love, kindness, compassion, and consideration, because those thoughts are really, really difficult to get out of. So the first way to fight depression is to try not to get stuck in the negative thought loop. So I know this sounds a lot easier than it actually is. It can be really, really difficult to get out of the negative thought loop. But the first thing is to recognize when the negative thoughts are coming in. And, the easiest thing to do is to practice mindfulness. And every time a negative thought comes up, or a negative series of thoughts, shift your thinking. Do something to just immediately break that loop. So go and do something different. Pick up the phone and start playing like a game. Watch a funny video. Laugh at something. Doing whatever you can to actually break that loop will help stop it in its tracks. And if you can do that on a consistent basis, you'll get to the point where you're actually forming a habit of stopping the negative thought loop, and eventually the negative thought loop will just kind of eventually dissipate. And when, we all have a tendency to want to like wallow in self-pity. It's super easy to have the pity party and the poor me and the woe is me. But the simple fact is that you have the power to choose your thoughts. You have the power to shift your thinking. That's why I named my company Mindful Shift. If you're mindful about the thoughts that are coming in to your head, if you're mindful of the emotions that you're feeling, if you're mindful of the reactions that you're having to situations, then you can make a conscious effort to stop them. And in 2 weeks ago, I talked about moving from unconscious incompetence to unconscious competence, where you're moving from a bad negative habit to a good positive habit, and you're doing it by rote rehearsal and by just constantly being mindful and stopping these thoughts when they're happening. Every time your mind says something to you, or even when some person says something to you, just stopping them and saying, look, I'm sorry, I just can't deal with this right now. I don't want to listen to it. I don't want to hear it. Just walk away from the conversation, hang up the phone, turn away, go for a walk, whatever you need to do to get away from the situation, because that is just going to keep the negative thought patterns continuing. The second is to set goals and establish a routine. Now, I am a big proponent of goal setting, and I've done a couple of different videos about goal setting and why people don't reach their goals. And goal setting is a really great thing because it gives you something to work towards. And when you're setting a goal, particularly if you're trying to get out of a depressive mindset, pick something that's small and easily attainable, because you don't want to be doing something that you're just completely insurmountable, right? If you're depressed and you're having a difficult time even getting out of bed and taking a shower, you don't want to put a goal of running a marathon, because that's just a goal that's completely insurmountable. Now, if you're having depressive thoughts and you're having, difficulties, you're struggling doing something, just, routine, set a small goal. Every day at this time, I'm going to, whatever the one small thing is, and just continue to do that on a regular basis. So set a small goal and create a routine. Set a reminder in your phone, put it on your calendar, set an alarm so that you're constantly reminded of this, whatever it is that you're trying to do. So getting into the habit of the routine and trying to accomplish the goal will make you feel better about your life, and you'll feel better about what you're actually trying to accomplish. And the number one way that you can battle depression, and this is what I used, exercise. Exercise is the fastest way for you to actually get rid of depressive feelings, because you replace those feelings with endorphins, which make you feel good. I mean, there's a reason why they call it a runner's high. After you get done exercising, you feel elated. You feel like you could conquer the world. And I know if you're feeling depressed, that exercising is probably the last thing you want to do. But I promise you that if you can just struggle to put on some exercise clothes, you don't have to put on exercise clothes, just put on jeans and a t-shirt and go for a walk, getting outside, enjoying the sunshine, vitamin D. God, I can't even tell you how many people in the world are vitamin D deficient because everyone's terrified of the sun. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And that could actually be a contributing factor to your depression, along with aches and pains and a myriad of other things. So go outside, enjoy the sunshine, listen to the birds singing, just think about all the wonderful things that are in the world while you're outside. Try and increase your heart rate. So do a little bit of HIIT. So you walk for, I don't know, like a minute, and then jog for 15 seconds, and then walk for a minute and jog for 15 seconds. The way I started was I had COPD. And I could not walk up a flight of stairs without stopping at the top and just like, it was awful. I was on 2 inhalers every day. And I decided that I was just going to try running. And there's a park that was near where I lived at the time called Stony Creek. And it was, I don't know how far around now, because it's been years since I've been there, but they had marks that were on the paved trail that were a quarter mile. And so I would get to a mark and I would just run, and I would run until I couldn't run anymore, which really honestly wasn't very far. I think if I could run for 15 seconds, then, that was saying something at the beginning. Now, I used to be a 2.5 pack a day smoker. I was an excessive drinker, and I was morbidly obese, coupled with the fact that I had acute hypertension and high cholesterol and, just all these other things. And then the COPD on top of it. But I did it anyway, because I was like, you know what? I'm here. I'm at the park. I'm going to go around. And and that's how I started. And every week I would push myself a little bit further, and then push myself a little bit further, and push myself a little bit further. I also changed my diet. So, eating a healthy diet, eating a well-balanced diet will also, move you miles. It'll help you feel so much better. But I changed my diet. I lost weight. I started feeling really good about myself. I started feeling really good about my life. And I went from being overweight and out of shape and completely depressed and hating myself and hating my life to becoming a sponsored triathlete. Now, it didn't happen overnight. It took me 4 years to get to a weight where I felt comfortable where I was. And in all that time of working out, like I was going to the gym and swimming, and going for bike rides. Um, I was going and working out like 4 or 5 days a week, but it made me feel good. I loved it. I enjoyed it. It made me feel good about myself. I loved that I was in such amazing shape because I'd been completely out of shape and I really just didn't feel good at all. I mean, I couldn't sleep. I was, having problems sleeping. I was having problems breathing. And then, of course, the depressive thoughts. I was constantly suicidal. And I think exercise truly saved my life, honestly. Um, so I really, really highly recommend exercise because it's free. I mean, you don't need a gym membership, you don't need equipment, you don't need anything to just go and move. And you really get nothing but benefits from it. So, I mean, why wouldn't you do it? You go and we weren't meant to be sedentary. We weren't meant to sit all day long. We were made to move. There's actually a really great book that I read because I transitioned from being a sponsored triathlete to an ultra runner, which is running distances of 50 to 100 miles. Yes, I'm that insane person. But and I did it on a vegan diet. I've been vegan for 17 years. So I read this book called Born to Run by Christopher McDougall. And in the book, he spends a lot of time talking about our physiology and how we've evolved physiologically and how we weren't meant to even sit at all. We were meant to run. I mean, we were, born from hunter gatherers. And that really wasn't that long ago. We haven't evolved enough to be super sedentary beings. So, they keep saying now that sitting is the new smoking. And it's really true, I mean, like, I remember working in offices and people saying the whole, like the freshman 15, when kids go to school, they, they called it secretary spread. As soon as you get a job working in an office and you're sitting at a desk all day long, you immediately gain like 15, 20 pounds because you're just sitting on your butt all day long doing nothing. And honestly, that's kind of what happened to me. I quit smoking. I was a 2.5 pack a day smoker. And, this is back in the day when you could smoke in buildings and I could smoke at work. And I chain smoked. Like I would sit at my desk and I would light one cigarette with the other one. And when I quit smoking, I had the oral fixation and didn't really know what to do. So the candy machine became my best friend. Coupled with the fact that every meal I ate came from fast food. And, that just wasn't really, I didn't do anything right. But getting exercise is one of the easiest ways for you to battle depression. So if you're feeling negative thoughts, if you're feeling bad about yourself, if you're wallowing in misery, go out and just go for a walk. And don't go for a walk and just keep thinking about the same things, right? Go out and, try and like come up with a challenge for yourself. So sometimes when I go for walks, I'll try and, say, okay, I want to try and see how many cardinals I can see. So I will constantly be looking for cardinals. And because I'm looking for cardinals, I can't like pay attention to anything else, right? So I'm counting cardinals, or I'm looking for red-winged blackbirds, or I'm trying to see how many, snakes I can find, or how many toads I can see, or, counting how many lilies are blooming on the pond. And, so just trying to find things like that. When I lived in a suburban area, I would pick a car color, and I would say, okay, how many blue cars? And I would just be, counting cars and not the song, but that's what I would do to try and keep myself from thinking those negative thoughts. And if I kept going to the negative thoughts and I would think about, okay, I'm training for, and this was a goal I set, like I was training for, first it was a 5K, then it was a 10K, then it was a half marathon, Then it was a marathon. And then, okay, after a marathon, what can I do? Okay, well, we'll try triathlons. And then when I got offered my sponsorship, I was elated, and I traveled all over the country participating in races. And then they wanted me to be an Ironman triathlete. And I was like, yeah, no, I can't because I was going to school full time and working full time and also running a business and training on top of it. So I was like, yeah, I can't dedicate that much time to triathlon training. And so then I switched to ultra running. So I gave up my sponsorship and I switched to ultra running. And I did that for about 2 years. And then I moved in with my husband. And my life changed. My priorities changed. I decided I wanted to focus on other things. I did the sponsored athlete thing, competitive athletics for a number of years, and then finally decided to give it up. But I'm grateful for the way things worked out because it really, really made me a better person. It made me feel better about myself. And it made me, I mean, I was in such great shape. It was awesome. I loved how I felt. I absolutely loved how I felt. So honestly, if you're feeling, bad, you're angry, you're upset, go out for a walk, go for a quick jog. Try, you know, picking something, count yellow butterflies, or, whatever. See if you can find something that's really hard to come across. Pick a car color that's really uncommon and see how many you can see. And, you'd be amazed at how quickly you can get out of the negative thought patterns by just picking something else differently. So again, you have the power to choose whatever it is in your life that you're thinking about. Now, our mind has a tendency to go to where it does because it's a habit, it's a pattern, it's something that we've done and done and done and done. So it's just rote rehearsal. It's like, how you've never stopped knowing how to ride a bike. It's exactly the same thing. So if you disrupt the thought patterns, if you choose different thoughts, if you shift your thinking, if you shift your focus, if you work towards a goal, and you do it consistently. This is the key. Consistency is the key. If you do it consistently, I promise you that you will start feeling better, and you'll just keep going forward. You will love the way you're feeling, and you'll just pick another goal, and you'll just move another step further, and you'll pick another goal, and you'll just move another step further until the thoughts, sometimes they never really stop, but you can stop them. You recognize when they're coming up, you recognize when the feelings are coming up, and you can say, no, 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 not today. I'm not going to deal with this today. I'm going to choose something else. I'm going to do something else. I'm going to think a different thought. I'm going to focus on something different. And, just forget about all that and worry about doing something positive. So that's really all I had to share today. We all struggle. And that's really all I'm here to do, is to just let people understand that we all struggle. You are not in this alone. You don't have to be alone. You don't have to go through this alone. You're not the only one that's going through it. We all do. I have attempted suicide multiple times. I'm grateful that I didn't actually succeed, because I know I'm here to share a bigger message with people. And I really want people to understand that you can control your thoughts, and you don't have to let other people have power over you. You don't have to let other thoughts control you. You are the one who's in control. So with that, I just wish you the best. I hope, that you're having an amazing day. And, if you, need any support or guidance, I have a free Facebook group. I do group coaching every week. You can come on live and do the coaching with us. If you don't want to go in front of the public and say, you know, that you're having an issue, but I get it. You know, we all have things that we're ashamed of, or that we're afraid to admit. You can send me an email, or you can share it in Messenger, and I can discuss ways on how to deal with whatever it is that you're struggling with. So, you know, you can find that on my Facebook page, the link to the group. I'll also put a link in the description here so that you can have a link available to the video. And if you're watching this video on YouTube and you found it useful, please like, comment, and subscribe. And I look forward to seeing you next week.